teammates around him because everybody on that list has good teammates around him. Joe Burrow is throwing to maybe the best wide receiver in the league, and he is still right there at the top. Jalen Hurts needs much more disrespect than being at this point coming off of a Super Bowl when we're looking for who is going to beat Patrick Mahomes, and he just did it.
Yeah, I agree with David. If you look at the last 2 of the 3 Super Bowls, hard stop, Jalen Hurts outplayed Patrick Mahomes once in a win, once in a loss. So when you want to talk about greatness and in big games, I give Jalen Hurts all the credit in the world. I was really concerned about his ability coming out. He was a second-round pick because of his lack of accuracy. He was benched in college. He transferred. His completion percentage has gone from 52% up to 68%. We used this stat earlier in the day from Hembo. He led the NFL last year in completion above expectation, meaning he completed passes at a higher rate than should have. Led the NFL. Joe Burrow was second. So when you take a weakness and turn it into a strength, he deserves all the credit in the world. And to me, that is the definition of greatness, when you make those around you better and you turn a weakness into a strength.
All right, so we look at this top 10 list. Peter Schrager, Jalen Hurts, number 9 on that list. Is he being disrespected?
Yes. Yes, he is, but I think this is a product of where he was entering the league, and the same people being pulled are the ones who didn't draft him in the first round. They watched him go, and 32 teams passed on Jalen Hurts, including the Eagles, who took Jalen Reagor over him in the first round of that draft. I believe there's a bias against quarterbacks who don't go in the top 10, and we still say, well, it's because of the team. I would also add, I do find it a little surprising, Evan, that Jayden Daniels, after 20 games as an NFL quarterback, is ranked ahead of Jalen Hurts, who has this amazing body of work. And, of course, the other name that is the hot button, especially online after yesterday's show, Justin Herbert, who hasn't won a big game and hasn't shown that he can be that guy in the biggest of moments when Jalen Hurts has. So I don't think Jalen Hurts is as upset about this as we are. I saw a picture of him in Greece with Michael Jordan. I think he's doing just fine. He was celebrating the love of his life this offseason. Like, he's okay. But from my perch and my vantage point, I would think he would be the top quarterback in his division over Jayden Daniels, who has only played one season in the league.
So is he an elite quarterback?
Ooh, this goes to the
Yes,
ultimate.
he is.
Well, how many elite can you have? I don't put him in the same conversation as those top 4 guys. I don't. I think that's fair to say. If there is a tier, if you will, I don't have him with Burrow, Lamar, Allen, Mahomes. Do you?
No, I think those are better quarterbacks, but isn't the definition of elite also partly in terms of like the rings and how well he's played in big games and how he's gotten better? Like, where are the holes in his game? If we're being honest and sober of evaluating Jalen Hurts, not when he came out, because I was wrong like everybody else. I thought he was a mid-round pick because of the lack of accuracy, but how he's played in big games, guys, like what, to me, like the inverse of that question, Evan, is why isn't he elite? What is he missing?
I think there's a feeling that amongst some, and I hate using this term, and we might go viral for that, the system is so good in Philly. You've got this amazing Jeff Stoutland coached offensive line with all pros all over the place. You've got Saquon, you've got Brown, you've got Devontae, you've got Goddard, that if you dropped in any of those other top 10 quarterbacks, they likely would have the same result and would be able to win on a winning team and have home field advantage, and then you see what happens from there. I think that's unfair to Jalen Hurts. That Dennis was saying, like, you can't hold that against him. That just happens to be where he plays. That's the car that he was given the keys to, and he's doing the best you possibly can with it. I know the Eagles are happy with him. They paid him. I know Sirianni loves him. I don't know if we should be the ones picking apart Jalen Hurts' game like a carcass.
David Dennis Jr. is the elite. Is Jalen Hurts an elite quarterback?
Absolutely. Again, for what I said, you're talking about those top 4 quarterbacks and all that. If you're talking about who do you want to win a game, who am I putting in a position to win a game? Who has showed me that? It is Jalen Hurts. I don't want to hear about a system when you have a guy who had Ben Johnson as offensive coordinator ranked higher than him, when you have a guy throwing to Jamar Chase ranked higher than him. All of these quarterbacks are benefiting from where they are. That's just how it is. There are talented quarterbacks who don't have any talent around them who are not on this list because of that's how the cookie crumbles for these guys. Jalen Hurts is where he is and maximized where he is because of his talent and his ability to win games, whether it's with his feet or with his arm. When I'm talking about who do I want to put in a game to win, I'm going to put Jalen Hurts right there with all those other guys, because when I look at the playoffs, I put Lamar Jackson in those situations. He has not won the same way that Jalen Hurts has. Josh Allen has not won the same way that Jalen Hurts has. Jared Goff, who is above him, has not been winning in those same situations. And Justin Herbert damn sure ain't winning in those situations if you're talking about being put in a playoff situation. Jalen Hurts has done it for multiple years. System does not mean anything to me in this situation.
Similar to David's point, guys, like the hard part about these arguments is like we don't want to penalize Jalen Hurts because he has great teammates. Like he has done what
we do.
Right, but we shouldn't. That's my point. We shouldn't. We do, but we shouldn't. He's played great in big games and he's gotten better. Like what else are we looking for? And again, I said this on your show earlier, but like if you're a college quarterback, you want to know what it's like to be a sustainable, great pro. Look at Jalen Hurts. Like, you don't tell me that guy lives in the weight room. Like, there's so much that's inspiring about his game. And you look at this graphic here, like, he's in the prime of his career, and his completion percentage has increased by 16% in the NFL. That's unheard of. So I think he's earned the right to be at this table. He certainly, to Peter's point, he didn't come in. You know, he was at the kiddie table because he, again, was benched. He transferred. But his mental and physical toughness, to me, is great, should be greatly admired.
I'll also give him a pass in the fact he was injured at points throughout his career, and he played through injury. I will say this, though. If you are looking at a big board, and this is not fantasy football, this is real football, and you said we're redrafting the entire NFL, I don't know a single executive who's taken Jalen Hurts over Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, or Joe Burrow. And if you guys think so, that's your take. Of 50 different coaches, executives, and scouts around the league, and cumulatively, they rank the top 10 quarterbacks in the league. This dominated conversation yesterday all over sports media. And as you see the list, Mahomes still number 1, Josh Allen 2, Burrow 3, Lamar 4. You go all the way down to number 9, and that is the reigning Super Bowl MVP, Jalen Hurts. Speaking of Jalen Hurts, his head coach, Nick Sirianni, was asked about the notion that Hurts was merely along for the ride during the Eagles' Super Bowl run. Sirianni, in classic Sirianni fashion, did not disappoint with his answer. Here was his response. Yeah, that's bull beep. I mean, he plays the most important position in all of sports, and it's the most ultimate team game there is. You name me a team that wins and wins consistently that doesn't have good players around you. Like, you name me a coach that doesn't have good players around him that wins. That is via the Philly voice. Mike T, we start with you. Is Jalen Hurts getting his proper flowers? Is he properly being celebrated as a great quarterback after that incredible Super Bowl victory and season he had? Number 9 out of the top 10, not in the top 5.
Yeah, I don't think so. And here's why. I agree with what Nick Sirianni said. Like, he outplayed, take a couple of those guys, Justin Herbert, Matthew Stafford. If we're being honest and sober, he has exceeded expectations from when he came out in terms of completion percentage, being able to throw from the pocket. So to me, I do think what Nick Sirianni is saying is correct. And you look at those 2 Super Bowls, great stats here from Hembo. The 2 Super Bowls, he threw for over 650 yards. Patrick Mahomes is at 477. So in 2 of the last 3 Super Bowls, he's been the best player on the field. He's a top 5 quarterback.
You've had so much experience in NFL front offices. Coming out of college, what were the slights of Jalen Hurts, and has he improved in those areas?
Yeah, accuracy from the pocket. It's something he struggled with. That's why he was benched. That's why he was transferred. That's why he was a second rounder. Tape sets the floor and character sets the ceiling. And Jalen Hurts is inspiring to a lot of young players, Peter, because clearly he worked at skill development and got more accurate from the pocket.
Dan Graziano, going to bring you in. Nick Sirianni had a ton of blister and fire in that response. What do you think of that response from the head coach of the Super Bowl winning Eagles?
My first thought was, who's he yelling at? I don't know anybody who doesn't like Jalen Hurts anymore. I think to Mike T's point, this is a player who has shown us an ability to seek out and learn what it is that he needs to improve about his game and then work on it to get to a point where it's better. I've heard Mike T say he outplayed Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl a couple years ago. I disagree with the characterization. Mahomes had a better QBR, better passer rating, more touchdown passes, didn't turn the ball over. Fact of the matter is, 2 years later, when they get back to the same game, Jalen Hurts does outplay him, and I think a lot of it is because of the work he does on self-improvement, the work he does on his own game. I was at an Eagles game last year in Cincinnati, and after the game, I remember Saquon Barkley was asked a question about Jalen Hurts, and he said he is the most poised, human being that I have ever been around in my entire life. And it really stuck with me. He's well regarded in that building. He's the center of what they do. And I think if Nick Sirianni wants to yell all he wants, I'm sure he's fine with knowing who Jalen Hurts really is and listening to other people say otherwise.
The term is straw man, right? Like, who actually is knocking Hurts? And yet, he does come in at number 9. He's not at number 4. He's not at number 5. He's not at number 6. 9. Does that seem right? Is that too high, too low, or are we fine with that, Andrew Hawkins?
Well, look, he's number 9 right after he wins the Super Bowl. And to you guys' point, this is what we love about sports. This is a guy that should be everybody's favorite quarterback from his story alone. This is a guy who got benched in the national championship, had to transfer, and now he's had 2 Super Bowl appearances in his young career. You can say what you want about a supporting cast. I agree with Sirianni there. And yes, I know Sirianni likes a chip on his shoulder, as does Jalen Hurts. But he has outplayed his critics. He has outplayed what we expected from Jalen Hurts early in his career. And not to draw comparisons, but this is the same narrative they had around Tom Brady in his early Super Bowl runs, right? And so for Jalen Hurts, he comes in at number 9. I think he should be higher in the list. I would probably have him around 6 behind Jaden Daniels, who I also think is an incredible quarterback in the making. But that's what makes Jalen Hurts special. It's his ability to continue to develop and be the quarterback that the circumstance calls for. He might not have outplayed Patrick Mahomes in that first Super Bowl, but he definitely went toe-to-toe, and now he has a ring under his belt to prove it.
So I put this on social media yesterday, and social media is always just a pleasant place. If you want to go, just check your comments and mentions. It's just lovely. Everyone's kind. I said, Hurts or Herbert? And the overwhelming response is that Herbert hasn't done squat. Herbert is crowned by us in the media, and until Herbert actually wins something, I'm tired of seeing Herbert being ranked up there amongst the best. And yet, Mike Tannenbaum, an NFL evaluator, it's hard for you to say, oh, Herbert isn't great because he hasn't won a playoff game.
Right, and nobody liked Justin Herbert more than I did coming out, but the truth of it is he's played well. Jalen Hurts has outplayed him, and another way to characterize it is look at Jalen Hurts' completion percentage. It went from 52% as a rookie to 68%. As it relates to Herbert, this is a year he has no excuses. Has the right head coach in Jim Harbaugh, right offensive coordinator Greg Roman. They have good skill players, and then they draft Omarion Hampton. What do they want to do? They want to run the ball and use play actions. So to me, Justin Herbert has a lot more to prove. Physically, he has more gifts. But when we just look at the facts and how they perform, especially in the postseason, Jalen Hurts has outplayed Justin Herbert.
Real quick, Dan Graziano, are you okay with Justin Herbert 7, Jalen Hurts number 9?
I guess if Fowler could explain it better, it's his project, but I think it's supposed to be a projection, how they think they'll be this year. And look, everybody on this list except Lamar Jackson was a top 10 pick in front of Jalen Hurts. So your draft status kind of sticks with you throughout your career, and I think people are going to continue to probably underrate Jalen Hurts because they might have been wrong about him.
Hawk, what about you? Hurts or Herbert? How would you rank them if you had to put together your list?
Yeah, Justin Herbert is incredibly talented, and again, you're giving me a A or B question, but Jalen Hurts has also shown the leadership that it takes at the quarterback position. Like, yes, they are a very good team, but we remember some of the conversations in the middle of that Eagles Super Bowl run last year about, is Sirianni going to get fired? Are they going to be able to get all these egos on the same page? And Jalen Hurts has stayed poised in the noise on the field and off the field, and he led this team to a Super Bowl. That means something. That's why we judge the best quarterbacks by how many Super Bowl wins they have or what their success looks like in a postseason. And by that metric, it's clear. Jalen Hurts is above Justin Herbert where they are in their career right now.
Okay, plenty more to come on this. Absolutely riveting conversation to start the show, and we're just getting started. Plenty more, and a lot of it includes